Hi there, my name is Todd Miller, better known as Tightwad Todd. I created an 11-part video series as an introduction to personal finance. Today we're getting into video 6, which is designing your spending plan. But before we jump into that, just a little bit about me. I am a financial coach. I work with busy professionals just like you, and we transform a six-figure income into a seven-figure net worth. I'm the creator of tightwadtodd.com, where I post videos, have a blog, and also send out a weekly newsletter. So if you like my content, please subscribe. And I put this video series together to help everyone with their finances, no matter where you are today. Here is a brief overview of everything that we're covering in this video series. Today, we are talking about designing your spending plan. And if you haven't done the first 5 videos, I strongly recommend that you go back and review those before setting off on this video. By the end of this video, you will create a spending plan that supports your SMART goal. And we came up and formulated with your SMART goal in the last video. So if you haven't done that, please go back and review that section. We're going to understand the difference between needs and wants, and you're going to recognize the expenses that you don't value highly. You're going to learn some strategies to overcome feelings of deprivation, and you're going to learn the importance of comparison shopping. In addition, you're going to discover the categories in your budget where you can save money. There are 3 parts to a spending plan. The first part that we're going to cover is savings. And the reason that savings is first is because this whole video series is about improving your financial situation, and we need savings in order to do that. Second, we're going to have your needs, which we'll cover more in this video. And then we also have your wants, which we'll also cover later in this video. Now, it's important to realize that your spending plan is constrained by your income. So starting with your savings, savings is the money that we put aside in order to improve your financial situation and put towards your goals. And again, we're prioritizing savings because most people have a hard time saving money. And the reason that is they prioritize spending. So they try and save what's left over at the end of the month, but there tends not to be much. So we're going to really focus on savings here in this course. Some examples of savings are money that you're using to pay down debt, building an emergency fund, saving for a large purchase, or investing for retirement. Now, as a rule of thumb, we like to try and save 20% of your income. Now, you may not be at that amount, so we'll talk more about how you can increase your percentage later in this video. Your needs are the places that you need to spend money in order to maintain basic well-being. So some examples of needs are shelter. Everybody needs a place over their head. Clothing. You need to stay warm. You need food, and you need basic health care. Rule of thumb is that we allocate about 50% of our income to our needs. And then we also have our wants. Now, these are places that we enjoy spending money, but they aren't really all that necessary. They make life a little bit more enjoyable. So you do have much more control over the things you want as opposed to the things that you need. Some examples of wants are dining out, entertainment, any hobbies that you enjoy, travel, and any luxury goods. So a good rule of thumb is to keep your wants somewhere around 30% of your income. Now, there are some gray areas between needs and wants. And at some spending level, things that you need become a want. For instance, everyone needs a shelter or a home to live in. However, nobody needs a 10-bedroom mansion. So at some point in time or some spending level, based on your personal preferences, that your shelter can become a want. So we need to have a strategy in order to kind of allocate this. So to give you an example is let's assume that you need a place to live and you want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a pool. So assuming that you do need all 3 bedrooms, what you can do is go into a website like Zillow.com and find the average rent for a basic place to live that has 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. And you can assign that portion of the place that you rent and classify that as your needs. So in this example, if average rent is 1500 and you pay 19, then 1500 is a need and 400 is a want. So that helps to clear up this gray area between needs and wants a little bit better. The most common response that I get is that saving 20% of my income is difficult. Well, it's worth taking another look at what you've classified as a need and as a want. I bet if you take a close look, you can find some room in there to reduce your spending a little bit in order to save a little more. In addition, you can do a little bit of comparison shopping for goods and services. A couple examples of things to check out are going to be your cell phone provider, any streaming services you have, insurance providers, and healthcare. In addition, there may be some places where you can eliminate expenses altogether. In the case of streaming services, most people probably have one or two streaming services, if not more. So you may want to look at reducing the number that you have or switching from one streaming service to another after a couple of months to get a little bit of variety there. Also, it's important to recognize what you're spending on habitually that you're no longer getting a lot of joy from. Also, where are you keeping up with the Joneses? All of us are influenced by our friends and our colleagues to some degree. So that affects our spending based on what they're spending on. So it's important just to take a look and see where are you buying things just because others have them. And that could be a place for you to look at reducing or eliminating expenses. In addition, plan for large purchases. When you plan for a purchase as opposed to buying it on impulse, well, you can do a lot of comparison shopping. You can look for the one that's going to serve your needs best, but you can also plan it around a sale. In addition, part of the reason that saving 20% is difficult is that a lot of people are cutting the wrong expenses, and that leaves them feeling deprived. So that begs the question, what is deprivation? And deprivation is a feeling that you have unmet needs or that you're lacking something important. Now, there are some strategies to overcome feelings of deprivation. The first one is have a plan to work your way up to saving 20% of your income. Don't cut everything at once. That's a recipe for disaster. In addition, you may want to look at ranking your wants in order of importance or in the order of amount of joy that you bring you. You want to focus spending on your wants on the things that are important to you because those are the ones that are going to bring you joy. Whereas if you look to eliminate and reduce the wants that are least important to you, then you really won't feel like you're missing anything, and therefore you won't have these feelings of deprivation. In addition, a lot of us are influenced by the people around us. So you want to concentrate on your financial journey and not pay so much attention to what your peers and colleagues are doing. And I promise you, this may seem difficult, but you can do it. Once you get started, it's not as hard or difficult as you think. Now I want to go through a little bit of an example. So if we go back to our second video, we calculated an income in that example of 7,700. So if we're dividing this income up between savings, needs, and wants, we're going to use the 50-30-20 budget to do that. So for savings, we get $1,400, needs 38, and wants 2,300. So that's just to give you a rough idea on how you can create a spending plan so that you're proactively using your savings to achieve your goals. Now, I want you to do the same thing with your finances. So go back to the income that you calculated for video 2 for your income. And I want you to take that income and divide it up using the 50-30-20 budget in order to calculate your needs, wants, and savings. And after you do that, I also want you to use the expense list from video 2 and to classify each expense as a need, want, or savings. Then total each of those up and compare it to the calculation that you used for the 50-30-20 budget. Now, naturally, not everything is going to match up. So we need to identify the areas that we're overspending on. And once we do that, then we need to start thinking about how we can reduce our spending here. Again, the idea is not to save 20% of our income immediately. That's a recipe for disaster. We want to create a plan in order to work our way up to 20%. And as a bonus, go ahead and do one action right now to either lower or eliminate an expense altogether to start working your way up to that 20% savings rate. Well, that's a wrap for this video. Coming up next, we have the importance of investing and compounding. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much.